Good morning, YouTube family. I hope y'all are doing well this morning. I would like to reintroduce myself and let you know that I'm starting my channel back up. I had last year taken 2025 off due to various reasons, but in 2024 I started this channel, um, trying to focus in on my chickens. And I found myself very shortly, in a small period of time, running out of content to share with y'all. So as of this video, I am going to share many experiences throughout my 68 years of life. Some of them are very funny. Some of them are not so funny. Some of them are just lessons learned and wisdom gained. So let's get started on a trip that I took back in, I was recently retired, so I was either 60 or 61 years old, and I decided that I wanted to try to go camping in Black Mountain, North Carolina. And to do this, I bought an old van, an old cargo van, and I made it into a camper. So then I didn't want to go alone, so I contacted a friend of mine, and she also had a van. So we were going to go up into the mountains of uh, Black Mountain, North Carolina. And when we got there, it was not a regular campground. It was a privately owned farm that was set up to have campers come and stay for however long they wanted to stay, whether it be a weekend or a week or 3 weeks. So we decided to go up and spend Friday, Saturday, and Sunday just to see how camping life was going to treat us. So as we pulled into the property, there was this cute little house with a couple of cabins in the background and a barn, and there was a little fella running around. He had long hair. Come to find out, he was uh, indigenous, so to speak, and his name was Walking Stick, and he did not have a stitch of clothes on him. He was as free as a bird and loved his property, and his mama was very much into the homesteading lifestyle, and he was just enjoying life. And I I just had to giggle every time I saw him running around buck naked. It was just something that warmed my heart because he was truly in touch with nature. Well, the weekend went marvelous. It was absolutely everything I could have imagined. They had a shower set up behind a barn where you could go and take a shower just in nature. And that was a fun experience for me, as I had never done that before. Although I have to tell you, I had my head on a swivel wondering if there were any creatures, black bears, deer, or what have you, watching me as I took a shower. So it was enjoyable. It did get me back into grounding with the earth, and I just had a lovely weekend. Well, because we were on Black Mountain, we did not have a lot of cell signal. And I had told my children that when I, arrived at my destination, that I would contact them because this was the first time that I had taken a solo flight with my van, and they wanted to make sure I was safe. Well, lo and behold, the cell signal was very weak, and I could not call and let them know this, that I had arrived safely. So then it turns out that the rain started coming down, and it was muddy, and we could not get off the property. Both of our vans were stuck, and so we had to wait out another 24 hours to see if the rain would stop, and then we could leave. Well, in the meantime, my family got very, very worried because they had not heard from me. And unbeknownst to me, because I'm in the wilderness, I was not listening to any news, and there had been a person who dressed up like a clown and had kidnapped a woman in the Charlotte area of North Carolina. My family heard this and got very concerned because they had not heard from me. So they contacted the police and had the police go look in the campgrounds to see, if I was okay. They wanted a welfare check. Well, because I was not at a state campground, I was at a private campground, they couldn't find me. And then I had sent, on top of this, I had sent my location in a pin to my family, which that went through. I'm not sure why that went through, but it showed then to my family that I was at a escape room. How this happened, I just really don't have any idea. But the address that they got on their communication end was that I was at an escape room. So then that really got their imaginations flowing, and they thought that I had been beaten up by a clown, and this clown had put me in an escape room. So they were panicked. Well, Monday morning rolls around, and I'm coming down off the mountain, and I finally get a phone signal. So I called my daughter to let her know what had happened, that I did not have a phone signal, and she burst into tears. And she was like, "Oh, Mom, I'm so happy that you called me. We thought there was something terribly wrong." And when I got home, I said, "No, I'm fine. I'm safe. I had a great time." And in the meantime, my children were melting down, trying to get the police to find where their mom had gone and what had happened to her. So, with all the stars aligning, how in the world could anybody have predicted that these circumstances would have lined up so perfectly for my children to think that I had been kidnapped and beaten up by a clown, and that I was then in an escape room and couldn't get out? I have no idea. But that is just one of the funny stories that I have to share with y'all. And I hope I hope you got a chuckle out of it this morning. My kids are still mad at me when I bring up the subject, but all that happened on my end of the bargain, was that I did not have a cell signal to be able to call them and let them know that I was okay. So I hope that you find that your family loves and cares for you as much as my family loves and cares for me, in that they were very, very concerned and actually called the police and had the police try to do a welfare check. And lo and behold, they could not find Grammy. They could not find their mom. And everybody in my neck of the woods was quite panicked over the situation all weekend. But thankfully, all was well. Everything turned out fine. I ended up, that was my first solo uh, flight or drive with my van, but I ended up spending that summer, because I was newly retired, I was taking my van and I was traveling all over South Carolina, and I was going to state campgrounds, and it was a fun experience. However, I retired the van because my family was quite concerned that I was in an older van camping by myself, and uh, that's just, after considering their worry and their concern, did my joy outweigh their worry and concern? And it did not. So I sold the van, and that's when I started my YouTube channel with the chickens, and I ran out of content. So this is one story that I'm going to share with you, or that I have shared with you, and I hope that you get a good chuckle out of it. But that was my uh, maiden voyage. That was my maiden voyage with my van and camping and being newly retired. So if you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. Be sure to leave a comment, and I'll catch you on the next video. Thank you for watching.